Holy, what's good everybody, it's your boy Romanpuss here with the second of the two giants guide, the big bad Dorry. I always mess up their names. So Dorry the Blue. Homeboy is a fantastic unit. It brings a new change to the meta, I will say. I think both him and Broggy have been a very great addition to the game. They do have their weaknesses, but they definitely come with some strengths. So this is going to be your end-all be-all guide, everything you need to know about them, and all you can. So if you have not familiarized yourself with his skills and his traits, please do so here and make yourself familiar. Go over the skills real quick, know his damage, know the damage reduction, blah blah blah, and some of the traits, and just skim over those real quick. Pause if you feel necessary. Without further ado, let's get into our Dorry guide. First things up is going to be our stat recommendations. What do we want to run on your metal sets when you are building those out, and what traits should you put on those? So we'll get to metal sets at the end, but I think the stat recommendations that you should run is definitely 70% attack for sure, because you are an attacker. You want to be killing, you want to be doing damage. So I think that's going to be obviously a necessary one. If you have 14%, you're only going to be able to really fit that, and then you can fit the rest on a secondary stat. Now that secondary stat, hear me out for a second. I think defense is probably going to be the better bet. The reason being is normally for attackers, HP is better. However, you have a trait where if you take 50% or more of your HP in damage, you will get an extra 50% damage reduction. So for this reason and this trait, I usually like to go defense. And on top of that, you have a higher level of defense and a lower level of HP. So I do find it a little bit more useful to go defense. It's only because your traits are that. If you had higher levels of HP, I think it'd be fine, honestly. I think this trait kind of works for both HP or defense, but I think just with defense it works well, and with where we're at in the meta. There's a lot of ignore defense in the meta, but there's certain units like someone like S-Snake. If you don't have defense, you're just going to get shredded because she has so much damage increase. So it's insane. I think this will fit best for you. So if you can go 70% attack, 70% defense, I think that's going to work well for you. If you do not have that, and if you just want to go HP, or you have a generic attacker set that's 70% HP, 70% attack, that is okay. That's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. I think both, like, defensively, I think this game doesn't really offer too much. So just one or the other. I feel like neither one feels better than the other, in all honesty, but I think defense is going to work better for you in your kit for most units. You just won't notice it as much. Now let's step into some strategy and tips and tricks real quick. When you're fighting someone like Dark Roger, who's very abundant in the meta right now, this may change depending on when you're watching this video, but a lot of the people that you fight is someone like Dark Roger. Make sure you use your skill one when he uses his runaround skill, so you guys can slap each other at the same time, and you'll get the HP cut on him, and you ignore damage reductions, so which he has when he's running around, so you can just slap him and hit him pretty hard with that. Get that HP cut. It'll go very well for you in your favor when you do that. On top of that, when you're on the Impel Down map, this one's just kind of fun. I don't know, I just came across this on Reddit, so shout out to the Reddit post that did this, but when you can jump through the gate if you like, and it'll save you a few steps, but you can do that. It's just rather interesting. I guess it's a feature, not a bug. I don't know. We'll see, to be determined, but that is something that can help you out if you want to just get the surprise jump on someone. Other than that, he is a very generic attacker. You just do damage. You're not the most tanky. Just overall, I think you're very like generic attacker is probably the best way to put it. So just don't be in the middle of fights. You are a big target. Don't stand in front of everyone, as you are very obvious, and people will blatantly want to go for you because you are a big target. So it's just something to keep an eye out for as you're playing through the game. Now let's talk about the Dorry pros. So your first thing is you ignore damage reduction on skill 1. That's huge. That's big. On top of that, you heal from all sources when the enemy, I think, is 70% or higher. So you can heal on your basic attacks, you can heal on your skills, and you can heal up to 10,000 in a specific hit. So I think it goes very far, and it works wonders. Now, if you're fighting someone who's low HP, then you'll notice you're not healing anymore, and it can hurt you. So it kind of sucks because this is one of your main ways of healing. I think it's your only way of healing, and it's kind of a bummer when you're fighting no one but low HP targets. On top of that, you take away state effects from light units, which is huge. You get an attack buff from using skill 1 and an attack buff from getting perfect guard. The perfect guard attack buff is 20%. The attack buff from skill 1 is 30%. So just know they do not stack, and you can utilize those to buff yourself to kill specific units. Someone generally like Jabra, who has a 50% defense buff, your 30% attack buff will give you enough damage to be able to do a little damage to him when you're fighting. On top of this, you are immune to status effects when above 50% HP, and then when you're perfect guarding, you take away the skill cooldowns and the dodge of the enemy that hits you. So or anyone in your vicinity, honestly, if you were able to stagger them right there. So that can be a game changer. You take away their skills, you can turn the tides of the battle, and you can kill them, so it works wonders. So if you get that perfect guard off, just know that you have complete control at that moment in time. So feel free to just go wailing away on them, because they don't have a dodge, they don't have skills, they can't do anything to get out of that at that state in time. Now let's talk about the Dorry cons. Now honestly, you're really not that tanky. You come with 30% damage reduction, and you have that 50% when they do more than 50% of your HP. So that is 80% overall. Like when you hear it, it sounds like a lot, but you don't know when you're going to take a lot of damage when you're not. On top of that, you're kind of a big target, as I mentioned earlier. If you are in the center of a fight, you're going to be eating everything. Lots of people are going to focus you. If they know they can hit you, they're going to run after you and try and kill you. So people like Jabra is someone to watch out for. Rogers generally just running everywhere, so if they have the chance to hit you, they're going to hit you. Many units in this meta can still just wither you down. Like, you have sources to heal, but you don't really have any sources to heal when you are not hitting someone. So that's something that can be a bummer. Overall, I think just kind of where Dorry falls is he's very glass cannon-y, but the problem is he's like a giant and the world's biggest target of a glass cannon. So it just kind of has its effects, and you don't really have a specific dodge. You really do just have that block. So if you mess up that block, you are very vulnerable, unless you have your skill 1, which can give you some damage reduction. But either way, you're still kind of vulnerable depending on what unit you're fighting. Now let's talk about characters you counter. Pretty much any light units. I think Kaku, you destroy. Light EX Shanks Runner, you destroy. Now these are all units that are currently in the meta. There are units that could potentially pop up in the future, but I think in general you are geared towards destroying light units. That's where your main focus is. So Kaku, Shanks, Light Odin, Light Zoro, which is Egghead Zoro, you can take away his enhanced state. There's a variety of these like light units you are going to annihilate, and I think that's what you're mainly geared towards. Now you can fight the other color units, the red, blue, green, but they can destroy you as well. So I think it's a kill or be killed world out here for Dorry. Now let's talk about the Dorry counters. Number 1, that's currently in the meta, I think, is people who multi-hit and people who have shields. So someone who hits really hard, like Jabra currently in the meta, he hits multiple times. He is not specifically attack buff, so you can't even remove his attack buff. So it's kind of a bummer because of his scaling. So Jabra actually annihilates him. That's the one person you need to mainly watch out for, and make sure you save your guard for his skills specifically, otherwise you'll be screwed. And then on top of that, just people who aren't HP cut. So you revolve heavily around the HP cut. That's how you have a lot of healing and sustainability. You do have the 3% heal when people hit you if they're HP cut. But so I lied about the healing thing. You do have that heal source as well, but you don't really feel it as much because people are still inflicting damage even though you're healing 3% of your HP during that time period. But I would say Jabra is your main number 1 counter. People like Dark Roger, you can fight. Light Whitebeard easily, you can fight because he is light. A lot of units you don't really struggle too much. Probably S-Snake destroys you. She's probably a counter. I would say S-Snake can destroy you very easily as well because she ignores damage reduction, and she just outputs so much damage that Dorry does not have the capability to kill or destroy. So definitely S-Snake is definitely going to be on a counter as well, unfortunately, because I know a lot of people do not like her. Okay, now let's talk about the Dorry medal recommendations. The first one up is going to be the Kaido medal set. I can't not put this on medal recommendations ever because it's just too good of a set. If you don't have Kaidos, try your best to come across Kaidos. They are very good medals, and they come with a lot of tools in the kit, so strongly recommend the Kaido set. This one's more geared towards attackers. That is 2 old event medals. If you are a newer player, remember you cannot get old event medals unless they're in that medal shop, which you have to pay like $2 or $3. At least that's how much it is US dollars. For my currency, it may vary depending on where you're at in the world, but that's the only way you can get old event medals. If you don't have access to those, there is the giant set down at the bottom, which has the current event running. If you're watching this on release of Dorry Broggy, if you're late to this video, you'll only have access to gold medals, so that's where you're probably going to look towards the Luffy set. There's 2 of those are gold medals. Remember, you can get medals from playing with other units who are playing that character in the game if you don't own that unit. Otherwise, if you own the unit, you can just get them during the 60-second battle. Overall, going back from the top to bottom, I think Kaido set's fantastic. Charlotte family comes with mixed matches. You can do the double Katakuri, and you can mix and match someone like Charlotte Biscuit Boy. You could throw him in there as well. They fit really well together. Depending on how they can offer damage increase, lots of damage increase for Charlotte family set. and damage reduction as well. And overall, I think that one fits really well for Dorry as well. Luffy set comes with a lot of utility. You get the knockback heals on those. You get some damage increase, damage reduction as well. Mix match those how you see fit and which ones you have access to. And then lastly, as I said, this giant set. You'll have Dorry. If you have one, you probably have a good chance of having the other. Maybe not, maybe so. So see if you can get both of those. If not, play in the league battle and see if you can play with them and get their fragments. And then you have the Event Giants sets that's going on right now that offers the 18% medals for the Giant Pirates. So that will allow you to get 18% medal traits on those as well, on just one of them. So you can mix and match those as well, and we'll potentially get more Giants. Who knows? We'll see what happens and what comes out. But overall, that is my medal recommendations that I have for Dorry and Dorry the Blue. Homeboy is cooking. I think he's a hit or miss. Sometimes you'll feel useless. Sometimes you'll feel like an unstoppable god. It depends on the current game and who's focusing you and whatnot. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys found this video useful. That is my Dorry the Blue. If there's any medals or anything you feel differently, let me know down in the comments below, and I will try to pin and address those as necessary. So that's all I have for you guys. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe. Check out my Twitch, Twitter, Discord, and Instagram down in the links below, which truly help me out. And like and share this video. But that's all I have for you guys. I'm going to be taking off. I'm Romanpuss, and I'm out. Yeah, holy. Peace, beautiful people.